What's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a lot of interesting stories for you guys today, so make sure you stick around for all of them. The first story that I want to talk about today are these stem cell treatments that Big Ramy is receiving. So on the most recent episode of Dennis James's The Menace podcast, he had Dr. Khan on. So this is the guy that's doing the treatment on Big Ramy. He's done this on other pros, and I've actually talked to some of those pros that he's worked with before, and we talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago, this whole stem cell thing that Big Ramy's doing. Now, on the podcast, Dr. Khan specifically says this is cutting-edge stuff, and I'm confident that I can fix him. And he also says he can fix Ronnie Coleman as well. But Dr. Khan claimed in this interview that Big Ramy supposedly looked a lot better immediately after the treatment. Chris Cormier asked him during the interview, he said, do you think that before the Arnold Classic we could see a difference in Ramy, or is it going to be ongoing? Basically asking him, is this treatment going to make a difference between the Olympia and the Arnold? And Dr. Khan said, it's a surprise, but I did see him practice posing a few days ago, and I'm not a judge, so take it with a grain of salt, but to me he looked a lot better than the Olympia. So the interesting thing to me about this is the fact that this is a pro bodybuilder, and what better way to show a demonstrative result from a new cutting-edge treatment like this than on a pro bodybuilder's physique, because sure, you can get testimonials and you can hear people talk about maybe they feel better after treatment like this, but as far as visible demonstrative changes in the body, what better patient than a pro bodybuilder where you can clearly see in those muscles or in those areas if there's a change or not? Because with a regular person that maybe had this same treatment, they might be able to say, oh, I can train better, my mobility's better, I feel less pain, I feel better here, I feel more energized, whatever. But you're never going to as clearly see if there's an impact or not as with somebody like Big Ramy. So that's the most interesting thing to me about all this. Aside from whether or not he's able to improve between the Olympia and the Arnold, that's really the big question as far as the competition goes. But as far as if this treatment demonstratively works on a pro bodybuilder and you can see a visible, discernible difference just from this treatment, and we're going to be looking at the lats, the mid to lower lats on Ramy. We're going to be looking at the triceps, and if there is a difference, how incredible that really is, not just for Ramy and not just for his prospects at the Arnold, but for, you know, the medical implications of all this. This is very fascinating stuff. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think this will have any impact at all on Ramy's recovery, on his physique? Is it going to help his placings at the Arnold? Can he look better than the Olympia? Let me know in the comments below. I, for one, I'm optimistic about it. I think Ramy will place higher than 5th at the Arnold. Now, also in the news yesterday, Arnold Schwarzenegger was in a car accident where he actually hit somebody that was on a bicycle, but according to all the sources reporting on this, Schwarzenegger was not at fault in any way. TMZ reported that although the lady that he hit was rushed to the emergency room, Schwarzenegger actually took her bike on his car to a local bike repair shop to have it repaired. And the reports are that the lady veered into his lane through no fault of his own. He wasn't speeding or anything like that, and he could not have stopped in time to not hit her. And also the reports now appear to be that she is in stable condition, and Arnold was not hurt in any way in this accident. And it seems like everything is going to turn out okay. So if you guys have heard about this accident or that something happened to Arnold, it looks like this whole situation really had a pretty optimistic outcome here. Now, next up in the news, I want to take a look at 3 recent side chests from competitors that are competing in the Arnold Classic. Justin Rodriguez, Patrick Moore, and Nick Walker. All of these updates within a couple days of each other, around 4 weeks out from the Arnold. So I wanted to include Justin and Patrick in this because we've talked a lot about Nick Walker. We've showed all his updates, but we haven't talked as much about Justin or Patrick going into this show. So a lot of people seem to be wondering, will Patrick be in shape? Will Nick Walker win a second Arnold Classic title? Will Justin Rodriguez's physique look recovered, or will it look like more of the same? Is he too burnt out? Does he need to take a break? Does he need to stop competing? So in these updates, I think Nick looks the tightest. I think Justin actually looks the fullest, which really just means that Nick is more depleted. He probably hasn't had a high carb day in a while, and Justin probably has. And in Patrick's update, I need to see the legs. You know, the 2 biggest criticisms for Patrick when he was competing were the legs in the back. And he has already shown his back, and his back did look like he's made some improvements. But we haven't seen the legs, and I think to properly give an opinion on this side chest, I would need to see the conditioning of the lower body and how his legs are looking, like we can see with Nick and Justin. And I think Patrick does have the best goon light in this picture, by the way. But I thought this was just going to make an interesting comparison because of these three guys. Are they even going to be in the same call-out? Maybe, maybe not. So to get the same pose, the same side, the same angle from all three of them at the same point in their prep, I thought was an interesting little comparison. Let me know in the comments below who you have winning the side chest. Now, another thing from one of the recent updates of Nick, and a lot of people have been doing this whenever Nick posts an update, is they'll send me a screenshot, a zoomed-in screenshot of the mirror behind Nick, trying to show his gut. They do this every time he posts, the most recent one being today, where he's hitting a rear lat spread, and obviously his front is not facing the spectators or the judges or whoever's in the room. And clearly the reason they're sending this to me is the distended midsection. They also did this when he did the back double bicep in one of his posts. I believe that was a couple days ago. Again, zooming into his midsection in that post. And to that, I still want to say exactly what I said before. I have yet to see Nick Walker on stage have an issue with his midsection. I have not seen it. Have we seen him in the off-season or leading up to a show have distension in his midsection? Absolutely. Does he have the prettiest midsection? Of course not. But what Nick Walker does have is very deep, very prominent, very separated abs. And in addition to that, what Nick Walker does have is very good abdominal control on stage. He really does. Even in the transition shots. It's clear to me that Nick Walker knows that he can have these distension issues in his midsection. He knows that this is something that could be a problem for him, and I think that's why he places such an emphasis on his posing and control of that midsection on stage. He really does a good job of it. And I've only seen these crazy distension pictures of Nick Walker in the gym posing or at a guest posing in the off-season. I have not seen a crazy gut midsection picture of Nick Walker on stage at any major competition. So until I see that, and until I see it become a problem for Nick on stage, I don't really see the point in talking about it. It seems like he knows that that issue, that threat is there, and he maintains control over it. So I think really we should be complimenting Nick for what he's doing. You can tell he practices controlling it. Now, if we do see it become an issue on stage, and he has, heavy breathing and his gut spilling out and he's not controlling it even in the transitions, maybe sometimes in the poses, then we should talk about it. But to be completely honest, I haven't seen it once from him. So by us talking about these updates of him posing in the gym 4 weeks out, not on stage and not in a position that's facing the judges, I don't think we're really telling Nick anything that he doesn't already know. I don't think we're really pointing out something that's been an issue for Nick on stage. And I think a lot of people point to Phil Heath as an example for this. Well, why did we talk so much about Phil? And that's because you did see that as an issue from Phil in the front facing shots on stage. And you can pick out a lot of pictures of Phil on stage facing front where his midsection was a problem. And granted, I do think a lot of those pictures were in the transitions, more so than in actual poses, but I think it was also an issue in some of the poses. And the same is not yet true for Nick, so I think it is something he needs to keep an eye on, and it's something I think he needs to keep control over, but I think he's doing that. And I may be going a little bit too deep on this subject, but I've seen Nick get a lot of flack for this, when I really don't think he's had an issue with it on stage. It's something that I only see in like gym pictures and guest posings, and it's to be expected. We know Nick doesn't have the prettiest physique. That's why his nickname is the Mutant. He's a freak, and he knows that. His nickname isn't the aesthetic guy or the classic king. It's the Mutant because he knows what he is. And as long as he's not letting his midsection mutate too much, I don't think it's a talking point yet. He's done everything he said he's going to do. He's improved every year, show to show. He's moving up in placings, won every major title except the Olympia. He backs up his talk. And I have a feeling he's going to look the best he's ever looked at the Arnold Classic this year. Now, next up in the news, let's pivot a little bit to Classic Physique, and I'm just going to put these updates side by side. The two frontrunners in the Classic Physique Arnold Classic, both posting videos recently, both Ramon Roca Queiroz, a.k.a. Ramon Dino, and the Miracle Bear, a.k.a. Urs Kalsinski, both posting videos over the weekend showing off their conditioning. We see a lot less in this video, by the way, from Urs than we see from Ramon, but from what we can see of Urs is all kinds of striations, crazy thin skin, crazy separation. Ramon the same thing, but I think it's what Urs is known for a little bit more so than Ramon. And Urs has kind of been out of the conversation a little bit because we've seen so many updates from Ramon, and Ramon has been such a big story after the Olympia, pushing Chris Bumstead, moving up to the runner-up spot, really making tremendous improvements to get to that runner-up spot. And on all these updates that we're seeing from Ramon, his conditioning looks incredible. And like I said, I would say that Urs is known more for conditioning than Ramon, so that makes it even more incredible that Ramon's conditioning seems to be where it's at, and Ramon seems to have a bit of size on Urs. And that's really what I noticed most from Ramon at the Olympia was, Chris Bumstead is known as this big guy. He's bigger than life. He's one of the biggest guys, if not the biggest guy in classic physique. Crazy big frame. He's put on some muscle this year, working with Hani Rambod. But Ramon, from a size standpoint, did not look small next to Chris. He was pushing him in the size department. So I do think these two guys are going to be battling it out for the top 2 spots at the Arnold Classic for that $60,000, which is more than the Olympia. So more than Chris got for winning the Olympia, one of these two guys will get for winning the Arnold Classic, which I think is very impressive of the Arnold to be doing that. And if you guys want to support the Arnold in doing that, you can buy the pay-per-view early. Right now, it's $60, but if you use my code NSP10, and there will be a link in the description box below, you can save $15. Get it for $45 instead of $60. Massive savings. You know you guys are going to buy it anyway. So why wait until the weekend of the show and pay full price when you can buy it now and save some money? Buy the pre-sale, code NSP10. If you want to see Urs versus Ramon, if you want to see Big Ramy fight for redemption, Nick Walker fight for a second Arnold Classic title, William Bonac attempt to get a third, why wait? Buy the pre-sale. And finally, we did get another physique update from Samson Dauda around 4 weeks out. Another frontrunner in this Arnold Classic lineup. Very different physique from the aforementioned Nick Walker. Tall, imposing, aesthetic frame. He just had his best Olympia showing ever, taking a top 6 spot. Some argue he could have beaten Ramy there. Can Samson impose his will on this Arnold Classic lineup and still be a frontrunner now that we've added these names like Ramy and Nick? Can he really make a statement here? I still think he can. And I always almost forget you've got Andrew Jacked in this lineup. So you've got these tall aesthetic freaks, and I use the word freak in a complimentary way because this is bodybuilding. So you've got these tall aesthetic freaks, Samson and Andrew. You've got your mass monster mutant freaks in Nick Walker and Big Ramy. You've got your miniature conditioning freaks, Sean Clarita and Kamal El Gargni, 2 former Olympia champions. You've got a 2-time Arnold Classic champion, William Bonac, in this lineup. How can anybody not be excited to watch this competition if they're a true bodybuilding fan? This is everything you could ask for. This is going to be a battle, and I don't think that first place spot is locked in for anybody right now. Anything could happen here. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like and subscribe for more bodybuilding videos like this one. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power, signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.